Hello and welcome to the Pop Pod. I am Sam, also known as Pop Sam Cam. Thank you for joining me for another week of the Pop Pod. It's an exciting week. Tomorrow I'm heading to Barcelona for Primavera Festival. Charlie XCX, Troye Sivan, Chappell Roan and Sabrina Carpenter are headlining. I'm excited to bring you all the action from that. There will be a review on the Pop Pod at some point early next week, so stay tuned for that. If you want that, this is a good segue. Follow or subscribe the podcast wherever you're listening to it. And also, if you could rate us 5 stars, that really helps us spread this podcast even further, find more like-minded pop people. If you want to find more like-minded pop people though, you should join the Discord. The show note, it's in the description down below in the show notes. You can join people who love talking about pop music every day, just like myself. That's the housekeeping though. Let's get into today's episode. Today, producer Jono and I are going to go deep on Miley Cyrus's new album, Something Beautiful. That is coming up. But I guess the biggest piece of news that broke over the weekend is that Taylor Swift is now the owner of all of her masters. This has obviously been a huge saga. They were bought by Scooter Braun in a very controversial move that led to Taylor Swift re-recording what was meant to be all of her old albums up until Lover. She has still not released Reputation TV and also Debut TV. A lot of people were excited for that one. Many people thought that Reputation was going to be announced last week, including maybe myself, who did a whole episode on Reputation. You can go back and listen to that. It didn't happen. But now she has announced that there may be no need to do that because she has bought them back in a deal worth about $300 million, it's being reported. It basically means that she now has ownership of all of her old music, the entire catalog, including the Taylor's versions now. And in a note shared on her website when she announced this, she basically put into question whether Rep TV would arrive at all. She said that she still kind of wants to celebrate these albums and let them have her own moment and even give the vault tracks, but she has no timeline for that. In fact, she revealed that not even a quarter of Reputation TV has been recorded, and that is because she found it the hardest to go back and re-record. And I get that because the production on Rep TV was incredibly modern, and I think as we saw in 1989, she struggled a little bit with recreating some of that really modern production, and I think that Rep TV, it would have been even more difficult. So we're just going to have to stay tuned to see what happened with that. A lot of people think that she was teasing her next album, given the amount of eyes that she used in the statement. Who knows whether that's true, but the Swifties always seem to be onto something with the Easter egg, so we will have to wait and see. But I think this is very cool that she has her masters back in her hands. I think that this move, or this whole saga in general, really brought to light how important it is for artists to own masters. It's very much in public conversation now, and I think it's going to be something that new artists are very wary of when they sign record contracts, which can only be a good thing. So that is the major piece of news for today. Let's get into the main part of the podcast where I will be joined by Jono to talk about Something Beautiful. All right, I wanted to discuss the Miley album, and I feel like given it falls into a bit of bop or flop territory, I had to bring on producer Jono to discuss this album with us. Jono is a long-time Miley stan and a fan of Miley album in ways that some have not been in the past, and we discussed Plastic Hearts a lot, and I know she's come up a lot on the podcast. So, hello Jono, are you ready to discuss Something Beautiful? The album,
I am.
not just... We could discuss beautiful things as well. Jules.
My love life, Something Beautiful. I feel like I also want to clarify, I've always been a Miley fan, but I think I was a stan quite recently, actually.
From Plastic Hearts, I feel like.
From Plastic Hearts.
Yeah, me too.
I got massive into it. I wonder if that's a common trajectory for people then, because if we both were like that, then...
I feel like there is, because a lot of well, actually, in the past couple of weeks, I've talked to like 3 people who've said that Miley is their number one. And I'm like, I've never heard that in my life.
I've only heard that from one of my family friends when we were like 16. I don't think she thinks that anymore.
Should we get her on? Do you have her number? Call her up.
Yeah. Lisa, if you're listening, join.
Yeah, I feel like it's been because I've always followed her and I've always been intrigued
Mm,
by her and I've always been excited by the potential of Miley more so than I've been excited by what she's done because I feel like she's always nearly gotten there and
mm,
then not gotten there. Like I think Dead Pets, if you carve away at it and like bring a sober mind to that project, there's something there that could be really special. I
yeah,
feel like Bangers kind of falls flat at points, like, but the singles are amazing. And
yeah,
then Plastic Hearts, I was like, here we go, like cohesion, like
yeah.
presence, like it feels like a Miley album. It feels like only she could have made it, her or Joan Jett. And then I was like, then we got Endless Summer Vacation. I was like, oh, not again. Like, why are we back in this scenario where you've
Yeah.
almost gotten there and you haven't really? And now we arrive at something beautiful, which
Yeah.
is not performing that well commercially, but feels like she's gotten to do exactly what she wants to do on it. I don't know how to start this without giving away our opinions like straight off the bat, or maybe we just need to give them straight up and
I
say
think
what.
give the opinions so we can go track by track, maybe.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm nervous to see what you think. I'll go first because you already know what I think, and like I've heard the album a couple times now, but today was not today. It is today. Sorry, I just gave it away. Pro- Producer magic. We're recording this a few days before it came out, but I reacted to it today, and you can see that on my YouTube channel. But this does exactly what I wanted Miley to do. It pushes it into experimentalism without losing her pop chops as well. The voice is there. The production I just found to be like so expansive and beautiful, something beautiful. And I also love where she takes it at the end of the album and just goes full into dance, like dance stuff, which is something we don't really get to hear from Miley that often unless it's fucking Catitude, and in which at that point, like you can keep it. So this is an absolute perfection for me. I love it. What's your
Not
opinion?
scatitude, scatmanitude.
What's your opinion?
Um, I hate disagreeing with you. No, I love disagreeing with you. And I hate that I'm agreeing with you on this
Oh,
one.
thank God. You made me so nervous. I've been talking up this album so much to people, and when I heard it, like you were the first person that I thought of, and then today I was like, oh no, what if he hates it?
I know. Also, I was worried that you oversold it to me because you obviously saw it with Miley staring at you, looking at your
Looking
reaction.
into
So
our
of course you're gonna.
souls. I was a bit worried today too when I listened to it again. I was like, oh no, what if I really was just taken by the first experience?
Yeah, true. I totally agree with everything you said. It's like cinematic. The instrumental, like the beat, the music is so rich. Her voice is so
Mhm.
rich. Like it's a fucking wealthy album. Everything is like maximalist, but in the best way possible, I think. I think, yeah, I alluded to this before on Bop or Flop, but I think the worst song for me is End of the World, and everything else is like really, really good. I feel like she doesn't get, which is what you were just saying in the beginning, she doesn't get her flowers, well, apart from the song Flowers, but like she
Which she
doesn't
did
get,
get her flowers for,
she got
actually.
her flowers for the song Flowers, which like, it's a good song, but she's got so many good songs. And Plastic Hearts, I feel like was paid dust. And I feel like again, this album where she's doing such a cohesive piece of work is
Mm.
just, and not that it's all about commercial success or the charts. And to be honest, a lot of the time these days, it's really not. I think it's just maybe a bit frustrating for like giving an artist credit where
Mm.
it's not just the fans who love it. Like, I think this really deserves the attention it should get.
Yeah.
Whether it's polarizing, I don't really care. But as long as it gets the attention, I don't feel like it's getting the attention people, apart from now that I've liked a few tweets on Twitter or X or whatever.
Yeah, we're
And now
in
I
the
have
same
Miley
community
stands.
now.
Yeah, we're in the same community, all 10 of them. And I'm like, where have you come from?
Yeah, I wonder if you felt like the singles were a bit of a like red herring because the album switches so dramatically about the
Mm,
midway point, and I when I heard it for the first time, I was so shocked that this was coming from the seed that was planted with like End of the World, because End of the World and More to Lose are perhaps the most different songs on the album, because by the
yeah,
end you're in a totally different space. Like, I
yeah.
wonder at what point you started getting shocked by this album.
Well, to be fair, you did warn me that it changes, so I did go
Yeah,
in knowing that
sorry.
it changed, but I feel like this is basically what she was trying to do with Endless Summer Vacation, but it felt a bit rushed and it wasn't as, like,
Yeah.
polished as this, and this is similar to that, where she had a few different songs, but there was, like, huge kind of, like, dancey bits and
Mm.
80s inspiration, and so I feel like even though it does have that the cinematic vibe of it throughout, and the different turns it takes throughout makes it really cohesive despite the fact that, yeah, some of it is very different on the latter half.
Yeah, it does feel very cohesive, and, like, it even kind of brings it all back together at the end with "Give Me Love." I feel like we return to the start almost, like, she takes
Yeah.
us from one place to another and just takes us on, like, such a good journey, and also, like, bring back albums that are totally mixed together, like, every single song on
Yeah.
this album flows from one to the other. I think Kali Uchis's latest album does it too, but it just keeps you so in the project, and I think that's why, like, the main question that was coming up when I heard it was people were asking me like, "Is there a hit on this album?" And I'm like, it's so difficult to detach any of these moments from the album as a whole that I'm struggling to make that call. And like the one that came
Mm.
to mind for me was, and we'll go track by track and talk about it more in depth. But like Walk of Fame felt like the hit to me, but then I was like, this song is 6 minutes and the production is so wild. Like, I would be shocked if this ever ended up doing well on
Yeah.
radio. Like, was there a hit to you, do you think?
The closest thing was Walk of Fame. I also think More to Lose is a hit that got away.
I'll stay when the ecstasy is far away.
I feel like
Totally. Yeah.
when she's like, we spoke about it, I think before, it's an instant classic, like she even says. I feel like maybe because Miley's just confident in herself, like people
Mm.
don't, I don't know, some people don't warm as much to her, or maybe people see her still as like this young Disney person, even though she's broken out of it so much. I don't know, it's weird, but
People
like,
don't get the cockiness. Like, I think the
I don't
cockiness
get
and,
it.
like, the drama of it all, I think she spoke in the Zane Lowe, um, interview about how, like,
Mm,
we used to introduce stars, like they used to be introduced and there was some kind of fanfare and expectation that these people were playing somebody larger than life. Like when Diana Ross
yeah,
came on stage, you weren't expecting her to get up there and start talking about like a breakup or like being like to the
yeah,
fans, "Oh my God." There was some kind of expectation that they were a performer. And Miley carries that old school show business attitude, which I actually love.
same, totally. And I feel like if like Dolly Parton released More to Lose,
Mm.
it would be a huge hit because I don't know, I just feel like, I mean, not to compare them because I know that's a bit lazy, but you know what I mean? Just like a classic singer who would have released that would be huge. And I just
Yeah.
feel like,
I think she says that she views it as her like "I will always love you,"
yeah,
like as it was for Dolly, which I think
yeah,
like frames it quite well. Yeah, I'm confused by the public backlash towards Miley. Like,
mm,
just let a performer perform. It's their fucking job. Like,
yeah,
you don't need to be online. And I think I was quite critical about like the fact that this era wasn't doing well, but I was coming from it more from a sense of like, this is what you have to do to succeed right now. It's not really what I think you should have to do to succeed, because I love the Beyonce model of just like giving people your best work and then dipping. Like, you don't need to be like on Instagram Live and doing all that kind of
yeah,
fan work if it doesn't suit your brand. And I like the way that Miley approaches it, particularly with an album like this. Let's
yeah. Also, that's your job to be, you can still love the music, but be critical of how it
yeah.
comes across or how they're putting it out.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm just bringing up the album. Let's go track by track. Let's start with Prelude. Obviously, we've heard Prelude. How did you feel the first time you heard this? Like, did it get you excited about what we were about to get?
Yeah, got me excited, got me motivated. It was giving everything I wanted. Um, I feel like I tied the prelude into End of the World, but it's exciting. Also, when you talk about it, Sam, can you talk about when you first heard it compared to now? Because I'm really interested to see if anything changed.
Yeah, okay. I feel for a couple songs they have. But yeah, Prelude definitely got me excited. I felt like finally, we'd heard her talk about this album being a little bit experimental, but I was like, finally, she's delivering on it. It got me there. There's not much more to say about this other than it being a launching pad for the rest of the album. I think things really kick off at Something Beautiful, which I think this is a track that's actually gotten better and better for me and makes so much more sense in the context of the album, and that like juxtaposition between the soft jazzy tones of the verse and the absolute like punch in the face of the chorus. Love the vocal production in the chorus, love that she goes for it. Honestly, love everything about this song. Do I think that it should have come out before the album? Probably not, because I feel like it maybe dims the light a little of End of the World and too much music came out that week for people to focus. But such a good
Right.
song and such a good beginning to this album. What do you think?
Yeah, sorry. Also, I realized I said End of the World was tied to the prelude rather than Something Beautiful. This is one of my faves off the album. It has been the whole time.
Yeah,
I
you've
feel
always
like
been a fan of this.
it's so good. The drama when it kicks in, it kind of gives me like releasing any frustrations I've had when it just kind of goes into it. And Miley's voice is so unique. I've never heard it in that space before. With like, I mean, I'm sure she's done it before, but it just feels unique to that song. I'm glad that you liked it more and more, maybe because I was like, this is one of my faves, so I forced you to, but it's really good. It's still
Stockholm
slaps
syndrome, but
me.
it worked.
Yeah.
The next one, I guess we've talked about a bit, End of the World. You've said it's your least favorite on the album. I personally love this song. I think that it's got like an ABBA vibe to it, kind of. I
Yeah.
think that it's like upbeat and shows the album in a much more commercial tone than the rest of it does, and does a good job of like making a proper pop song amidst something that is not really that conventional. And I feel like this and More to Lose are the closest you get to any kind of pop convention on this album. I think that her voice sounds incredible. Like she absolutely goes for it in this bridge. And I love the way that she takes her time with it as well. Like this song's over 4 minutes. Singles over 4 minutes are hard to come by these days. And like she just gives the song the time to just like reach its apex, which I like. What's your reasoning for it being the worst one?
I think the reasoning is what you just said. I think it's a bit too commercial for me, a little bit too polished compared to the rest of the album and the other songs. But
Yeah.
I get why that's necessary for the album. I just don't know if I find it as believable with that polish as the rest of the album.
Yeah.
And some of the whoa, 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 whatever.
The Viva La Meters,
it's
if you will.
it just doesn't do it as much for me as the other songs. It's probably the closest to a skip on the album, but I still wouldn't skip it. And the bridge is really good. I agree.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is More to Lose. And like we can gloss over this pretty quickly because we've talked about it a lot. And it was on a Bop or Flop episode if you want to go back and listen to that. But like
Yeah.
just really classic, great ballad sung well. I think the production is what elevates this into a place where it's not just another run of the mill ballad. And I think you could say that basically with every Miley ballad. Like Slide Away is made much more interesting because of the production is a little grittier, like the production of Wrecking Ball, not to give Dr. Puke any love, but like it is just like glistening and perfect. And High off Plastic Hearts, like she you off Endless Summer Vacation, she just bodies a ballad and she does it again here.
Yes, she does. Didn't we fight about High and You last time? I can't remember.
We
No,
talked
it
about
was,
You because I think that You is not well produced, but High I would never fight
Yeah.
about. I love High.
High is really good, and High is another one that should have been. It really reminds me of this song, and it should have done way better.
Did you know Angels Like You has 1 billion streams?
Yeah, I think it went viral, didn't it?
It's crazy. Like, it's huge. I never realized until the other day. Anyway,
No.
we're not talking about Angels Like You. Give me a sentence on More to Lose.
More to Lose, the one that got away, it should have been a runaway hit, and it is a runaway hit in my household, and that's all that matters.
That's really all that matters. I don't think we need to talk about Interlude 1 specifically, other than this feels like quite a shift in the album. Things start to turn. You feel like the direction might be going somewhere different, and then we get more Easy Lover.
You got the love I always needed. Taught me the horses and I still wouldn't leave you. But you're not an easy lover.
Which
Yeah.
we talked about on Bop or Flop on Friday as well. Easy Lover to me is like probably the most straightforward hit on the album. I know that you like kind of feel that of End of the World, but I feel like this is probably one of the most straightforward songs.
Yeah.
Almost went to Beyonce, as we've talked about, but ends up with Miley. I think the reason why this song works so well is just because there's like a grit to her voice that just brings it across the line. Like the way that she delivers this is just so cool. And I've used this word a lot describing this song, but it feels like sweaty. There's like a swagger to this that's just like hot. I think the way that she sings this is so cool.
Yeah, it is. And also, like, the melody's so good, I can see this being sung like 4 different ways. Like, I kind of want her to release 4 different versions because you can hear why she kept on to it for those so many years and was waiting for the production she wanted. But it's a really nice song. It's really good.
Yeah, because it's a song that if it was produced like any cleaner, it would be boring, I think.
Yeah.
But it's not at all. And it's such a good shift in the album. Then we go into Interlude 2 and things really start to fuck up a little bit. And then we go on to Golden Burning Sun, which is a demo that she's had lying around for a while as well. Fans had heard the demo, but she's pulled it into the Something Beautiful world.
I'm just so lost in this moment. You're the only one under the golden burning sun.
This is the one that I was going to say that when I heard the album for the first time, this didn't register with me at all. Like,
Okay.
I didn't think about it after it, apart from that people kept asking about it because it was a demo, but honestly, I didn't really remember it. And today when I listened to it, I was like, oh my God, like this is going to be one of the ones I return to the most on this. It's got this like Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks 70s energy that is just so good. And that chorus is so like warm and so just like all encompassing. It feels like the biggest hug. I love this song so much. And I feel like I was thinking of you a bit in this song, not because I feel this way about you, but because I felt like you would love this song. And tell me if I'm right. You're the only one.
Burnt. That is really interesting to hear about the differences because when I first listened to it, I was like, I remember seeing the fanfare on socials being like, oh, they're waiting for this. I haven't heard the demo though. Had you heard the demo?
No, I hadn't before. I have heard it now.
Okay.
But I think that's good because I think when you hear a demo, then you attach yourself to that. And then when it's different, you struggle to think of it any different way.
I'll tell everyone you're the only one I want. Can I have you if I promise?
It's the way I felt about You by Miley because I love the live version so much. So I'm happy that I heard it in the way that I did because I love this version.
And that's true of a lot of Miley fans. They think the same about You. So I'll be interested to see what they think about this. I can't wait to listen to the demo actually and see what I think. I think this sounds really good. I liked it. But again, it wasn't like a super standout. But then it's tricky when you have an album where you like it all. So it's hard to find a standout.
That's the thing. There's not really a standout for me. I have one strong standout. The rest for me, and we'll get to that, but the rest for me kind of just like blend into each other in the best way. Like I don't mean that as an insult at all, but it's so good. I mean, I feel this way about Cowboy Carter. I don't really have like a standout because it changes all the time and I like to listen to it from start to finish. So I feel like that's a good thing when things don't stand above everything else. The next song is Walk of Fame.
You start going insane. Gotta walk away. Gotta walk away.
This is where I feel like the album really switches it up. The beat comes in. Brittany Howard is on this one. It just like absolutely howls. And this was like where I was thinking, I did not know Miley had this in her. This is so high octane. It's so on another level. The chorus is just like ray of light Madonna level brilliant. I cannot speak highly enough about this song, and it's not even the one that I think is the highlight on the album.
Is it not? I think this
No.
is definitely on first listen the highlight for me.
It was for me when I listened the first time too, but I've switched.
Oh, okay. That makes me really excited to see where my opinions go and the listeners' opinions goes. But yeah, I feel like it's like a sprawling club bop, and
Yeah.
I like that it is long and it changes and goes in different directions. It's giving Pet Shop Boys like to the
Yeah,
extreme,
that's a great
and
reference. Yeah.
Miley's dead Pet Shop Boys. But it's like, it's not like a cringe reference. It feels authentically her. You know that she'd be front row at a Pet Shop Boys concert
Uh-huh.
with her gaggle of gays and drag queens like clacking a fan, and like that's what she's like making with this. I think it's not, it sounds cringe saying cool, but it's just a really cool song,
is.
and it's done really well.
It's cool because you're right. Like, I believe every reference that she brings on this. Like, I
Yeah.
believe that she was listening to Madonna and then listening to Pink Floyd, like, in the same hour. It's just, like,
100%.
totally believable. And that's why this album's so much better than Endless Summer Vacation, because that one I felt like she was always thinking of it in terms of, like, I really need a hit. Like, I need something to really reach people. And it wasn't believable. Whereas this one, I'm like, oh, this feels like we've stepped into Miley's iPod or whatever, like Spotify now, or record collection or whatever. It's totally uniquely her, and only she could have made this one. I totally believe that she drove the direction of this album. And that's what makes Walk of Fame cool, as you would say.
Yeah.
I call everything cool.
Yeah, cool. Sounds a bit. But also, I agree. I think Endless Summer Vacation just felt a bit half baked. Like the ideas were there, but it just wasn't fully formed. Whereas
Yeah.
this feels fully formed, and like you can just, it just feels like she's put so much more work into it. I don't know.
Yeah, and there comes a point on this album where I stop worrying about it being good. Like, I think when Golden Burning Sun happens, I was just like totally relaxed and like, oh, she's taking it somewhere really special. Whereas Endless Summer Vacation, every song I was like, please, this one be good.
That's
Because
so
the rate was
weird.
so low.
I had the same feeling. Exactly the same feeling when I listened. I was like,
Interesting.
I'm not worried where this is going. This is exactly where it should be going. That's
'Cause
so odd.
you can hear when Miley wants to do something. She's never been able to fake
Yeah.
anything in her career. And so I feel like
Yeah.
when she sounds as comfortable as she does on this, like, she just takes it so good. The next one is Pretend You're God. This one is probably one of my down the bottom of the album for me, but not because I don't like it. And I also think it's necessary to have this really like dark, apocalyptic sort of vibe wedged in between all of these like quite euphoric moments. I really like where it sits in the track listing, but it's not one that I'm going to pull out from the album by itself and listen to it, even though I love the way she sounds in the chorus.
Same. It's not an initial standout at all, but I think you're right. It's necessary, and it also sounds good. I think you need this in an album though, to have the highs and the lows, and like it's not a skip in any sense because it works with all the songs surrounding it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't think we have to say much more about that. I'd be surprised if somebody comes through and they're like, this is my favorite song on the album. If people will do that now to be different, but I don't believe you. The next song.
we'll do that in 2 months. You'll be like,
I will.
was this my
I will.
favorite?
Me saying that Snooze by SZA was a snooze, and then becomes the song I play on repeat for like 3 years. Every Girl You've Ever Loved featuring Naomi Campbell.
I'm every girl you've ever loved. She has the perfect sense. Don't you want me, baby?
I'm not gonna lie, when I saw Naomi Campbell's face pop up in the movie, I was like, "Oh God, here we go, what another catitude." And this song could have so easily gone into catitude territory, but
Mm.
it takes it to so much more of a classy place. Like this song sounds so expensive. It's like dripping with money. I love that the verses are so poppy, and then the chorus has like this vocal production on it that takes it to a way more alternative place. Just love Naomi just like shouting those things every so often. It just works so well. It feels like just so, I don't know, this song feels powerful to me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the first listen, I was like, go off, Naomi. What does she say? Is it like strut or like
I think
walk?
pose maybe.
That's
Yeah.
it. She keeps saying pose, and I was like, it almost sounds like a remix song, but it's not. Like it sounds like she just
Yeah.
said pose once and they turned it to a remix, but it could be like, I'm sure some people think this is lame and like not that good, but I feel like for me it is. It's just like really fun. Also, speak of believability, like Naomi Campbell, you believe everything she does. She
Yeah.
sells everything in the most incredible way. And so her and Miley are a good combo when she
She
does this
also
like spoken word thing.
performs like she's totally bought into this idea of what people think Naomi Campbell is, and I don't know if she's that in real life or whatever, but she's like
Yeah,
performer, the same as Miley.
that is so true. She is.
And I think like the way they like strut down the runway together at the end of this in the film, and it's just like it's shot so brilliantly and just like elevates this to another level. I think it's something
Yeah.
so I mean, when you say your album is going to be inspired by Pink Floyd and is medicine for a sick world, the last thing I expect is to get a song with Naomi Campbell.
Also, medicine for a sick world. I'm not 100%
Come
sure I'm
on.
sold on that. I'm not popping something beautiful to feel better. It didn't kill my COVID
No,
last week,
in
but
fact,
actually I feel better this week.
there you go. Medicine for a sick boy, maybe. Um, it just like feels so apocalyptic. And even though I feel like it is quite uplifting, you also get the feeling that the world's just going to end when this album finishes, you know, like it's like not,
Yeah.
it's dancing to the end of the world. Okay, next song is Reborn.
If heaven exists, I've been there before. Kill my ego, let's be reborn. If heaven exists, I've been there before. Kill my ego, let's be reborn.
Speaking of dancing till the end of the world, this is the one that is at the top of my pedestal right now. It is so good. I love the like dose of euphoria that you get after that like apocalypse kind of vibe that I was talking about. This song just comes through and is just like takes you to the heavens, and the way that it goes into that disco beat for the end of the song is like such a moment, and so like I think I said this in my reaction. I don't mean to shade Dua, but when I was hearing about this like psychedelic Tame Impala inspired album that she was making for Radical Optimism, this is what I was thinking about. And this is the kind of daringness that I want, like a song that goes for almost 5 minutes and just dedicates everything to giving you that cathartic exhale payoff. Just like the end is so brilliant. I can't like talk about it highly enough. And this one again is where I get the ray of light kind of vibes from Miley. It's so good. And if you see it in the film, this is technically the last song because Give Me Love is played with the credits. So it's kind
Oh,
of like a
really?
Beyonce formation sort of moment that it has. But yeah, this is like the final scene of the film.
That makes sense in terms of narrative to always like finish with Reborn.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think of this one? Like, does it excite you as much? Because the first time it actually didn't. It's on the repeat listens that I've just fallen in love.
Yeah, it wasn't like a massive standout. The last two songs weren't a massive standout to me. I had to listen to them quickly again before this call because I was like trying to remember because obviously like all kind of melds into one. Um, I think with the psychedelic stuff, you've always felt like that was Miley, whereas
Yeah.
maybe with Dua, she probably had that, but it wasn't represented in her music before. Whereas you've heard that with Miley, even on like Dead Pets and stuff. Like she's had that influence and like kind of, I don't know, tangential psychedelic in songs or obvious psychedelic in songs. So
Yeah.
I think it's really good. I'm excited to re-listen. I didn't even think of this as like a highlight, but also I've only listened twice, so hopefully it will become another one. But I
Keep
remember
me updated with your
yeah,
journey, with your reborn journey. We'll start a
next week
WhatsApp
I'll
chat.
message you and be like, Reborn's my least favorite and you're
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it's such a moment. And then the final song is Give Me Love, which like kind of brings this album back down to landing in a really sweet way. I think it's the most connected to Prelude, in terms of the tone that Prelude gives at the beginning of it. And just Miley in her element, like just singing well, great melody. Like the production is like luscious and sweet and dreamlike. I just think it's a really nice way to close the album, particularly when I think of Reborn as the true closer. To have this as kind of an afterthought, I think is quite nice.
And I agree, it ties back to the prelude. Also, her voice on this album, she's never sounded better, and she has sounded
So good.
good for her entire career. But some moments I was like, because I think she has like nodal issues or
Yeah,
something.
she
She
does.
doesn't want to
She's got the Cosimo DeVito.
cost them up.
That's a
But she doesn't
very,
want to get
very
surgery.
niche reference for any Australian
Listen,
listener.
if her Aussie stands, I feel like her and Costner would have a wine and a good time together. Foster Miley. Let's see. Give Me Love, a good closer on the album. Obviously, in the film, it's end of the credits, but I feel like it ties back to the loop to go back into it.
Yeah. How do you feel about the album as a whole now in terms of how it sits with the pop albums that we've had this year? Obviously, we've had a lot more time with the other ones.
Yeah.
But do you feel like it ranks with the best ones from this year?
For me, 100%. I wouldn't say on first listen it's the best album of the year, but I would say it's probably like top 5 for me.
Yeah.
And probably quite easily. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's a symptom of the music that's been released or because this is really good.
That's part of it for sure. What a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's an album's album. Like, I want to listen to this start to finish. I think also, you talked the other day on your pod episode about Lana having like interlude jail for Candy Necklace.
Yeah.
And Miley doesn't have that for this. I think the interludes really work well with
Totally.
the
Yeah.
songs. And in that instance,
To be
I
fair,
wouldn't
these
skip the
interludes aren't 6 minutes of a pastor talking at church while Lana laughs.
True.
No, but I
But I
agree.
think
Yeah, there's no way to break this album up, and there's no need to.
Yeah, and I could loop back and not be like, oh, we're back at the beginning. Like, I feel like I could start at halfway and it would still work really well.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. This for me is like,
Where does it,
oh, sorry. I'll let you ask the question formally.
where
before I
does it rank
cut
for
it.
you, Sam?
This is potential album of the year territory for me. I think I need a lot more time with it.
Yeah.
I think just in terms of the pop albums, like Gaga and this are just so far ahead of what the others have been doing this year. And who are the others really? Like Selena Gomez and Tate McRae. There's like not a lot of competition. So my album of the year currently is Bad Bunny. I don't know if it will beat that, but it's so high up there and I love it. And I've never felt this way about a Miley album. Even Plastic Hearts, I don't even think I put it in my top 15 for that year. So
Okay.
this is like new for me to feel this way about a Miley album. Just in case you think I'm a deranged stan who's trying to push Miley like propaganda on everybody. And before anybody
Yeah.
fucking asks, I haven't been paid a cent to say a good word about Miley Cyrus. Literally not a cent. I haven't even been given a free wine at an event to talk about Miley Cyrus. So this is very organic the way I feel about this
Imagine if
album.
I had, I'm like, I got paid so much to say this.
You're like,
what
what?
about me?
She just sent me a bottle of Dom Perignon. Let us.
Excited for Miley to. It feels like she knows this is a good album and doesn't really care that much about the public opinion. Really, it's so
I think so
secondary
too.
to her.
The reviews so far have been very good as well. Bar The
Okay.
Guardian, who said it was about as psychedelic as I think a piece of toast or something, or potato, he said, which I thought was strange. Like, what? I don't really get why
Also-
it needs to be that psychedelic. She hasn't like been very forthright in calling it that, so I
She
don't
hasn't at all.
get the
Well, but she
criticism.
says medicine for the world. Psych
Yeah.
medicine.
Look, I do feel healed. This sick world has been healed thanks to Miley. Where was this 5 years ago when the world was genuinely quite sick?
Yeah. Well, Easy Love was probably made 5 years ago, so
Exactly. She was trying to heal the world back then. Let us know what your opinions on this album are in the comments, and also make sure you follow, subscribe to the podcast if you like what you're hearing. Got plenty more coming up. Rate it 5 stars if you like this Miley album. If you love the Miley album, do us a solid and give us 5 stars, and we'll be sure to pass it on to her. And also join the Discord if you want to talk any more about this album. That's in the show notes down below. Thank you, Jono, for joining me out of Bop or Flop cycle to talk about this album. We will see you on Friday for Bop or Flop, I think. Actually, no, we won't. I'm going to be at Primavera, so there might not be a Bop or Flop. There might.
oh, not again.
We'll discuss that behind closed
We'll
doors.
see. Okay.
Just don't be surprised if there isn't one. Goodbye.